Hey everyone, today we're going to be talking about a basic everyday skin makeup, a foundation routine. We're going to talk about mine and something, obviously I've got all of my makeup on right now, but what you'll be seeing is what I do basically from the ground up to get mostly to this point. What you're going to see also is a little bit of color correcting, a little bit of, a bit actually, of how to get rid of really bad under eye circles. So I do have them, they are there. They are under a few layers of color correction and so on, but you can see that in the video. I hope that you enjoy and that it's beneficial for you. And yeah, I guess that's it. We are going to just start right away, get right in there and start color correcting this mess, because if you've got any sort of discoloration on your skin that's I would say above average, or if you've got very deep set eyes, you know what I'm talking about, you just want to get rid of it, right? Okay, so we are going to start. In my case, what I'm mainly going to be focusing on is I've got these under eye bags. They're terrible. You can totally see them because of this daylight and they're a mess. You could definitely see them in my last video too, when I was talking about brows and eyelashes, which are already done, obviously. It was pretty bad, but in any case, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going right in there with this yellow color corrector. This is just a Physicians Formula one. I find that it works well for me particularly. There's a lot of these that are out right now. Color correcting is becoming a little more mainstream. I hope people don't start overdoing it the way they've started overdoing or have been overdoing contouring. Because contouring, yeah, you can get away with that as a look being a little overdone. Color correcting, I don't know how that would work out. But anyway, we will suspend judgment on that and many other things and just go in with this. I'm using a yellow because I am naturally very pale. These circles are pretty bad. I could get away, in my case, with using an orange on them as well. On certain other people, I would definitely go in with an orange if you've got a darker skin tone, or if you've got like really like worse than mine, deeper than mine, then we might want to go in with an orange or a peach. But for me, I'm just going to use this yellow. It's easy to find, it's cheap. So what I'm going to do is, the trick to this is to just color correct the color that needs to be corrected, okay? I'm just going to take this brush. This is actually my Urban Decay Naked 3 brush that I don't use for, I don't use it for eyeshadow, I only use it for skin. So we are going to actually go right in there, you can see those, and we are just going to color correct very heavily, actually, not too heavily. You don't want it to like screw up the texture of your makeup, but you want that yellow to be obvious. So I'm going to get right in there with the mirror and the brush, and I am following the exact purple that I'm seeing here. Now you'll notice I'm not going all the way up in here. There is purple in there, but that's not the worst. That's not where you're seeing most of it. We are color correcting the deepest and the worst, because otherwise if you over color correct, everything's going to be color corrected. It's going to be a clean slate again and nothing will be color corrected, if that makes sense. So we are going to pop right in here, and it helps to look down. It is kind of scary. I remember when I was tiny, I was like 4 or 5, I was glaring at my brother. I was angry with him, of course, you know, that's how it's gonna be. But he actually got scared. He said that I looked like I had been possessed. So take that for what it's worth when you look down like this and you look possessed like that. Anyway, so I am just going right in here, and you can see it goes down and around. We are only popping that color in right where it's absolutely necessary. You can see it looks ridiculous, but we're going to take care of it. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the other eye really quickly. And so you can see they don't look exactly the same, but that's because the under eye circles are not exactly the same. And that's fine. You'll want to repeat this process if you've got a lot of like aging going on, if you've got something that's creating unnecessary texture, like in here, if these guys have started to droop quite a bit, and I don't even want to think about that. because I'm very superstitious. If you've got, there are other ways to correct this above here, so you really don't want to do that. Well, we can do that with eyeshadow another time. But so I've got this going on, and so that's that taken care of. And the next thing we are going to do is cover this up so we don't look like a swamp monster. It's really funny. I used to have a lot of redness, a lot more redness than I do now. You can kind of see it on my nose, but before I figured out that my diet was a problem. I had a good diet, by the way, but like I have food allergy that was causing me to get a lot of acne. I was very red, so I'd have a lot of green and a lot of yellow, and I'd jump out at people when I was halfway done with my makeup, and that's probably because I'm a nerd, but I thought it was funny. So anyway, what I'm going to do next is put on my foundation. And the foundation that I'm going to be using is actually this CoverGirl Outlast Stay Fabulous 3-in-1 foundation. It has broad spectrum SPF 20, which is a lifesaver. You always want to use SPF unless you're being filmed or photographed. This brush that I'm using is not a foundation brush, but I use it as such. This is the Sephora Mini Mineral Powder, and it works just the same as the non-mini. The only difference is the length, and it's like a $5 difference or $3 difference or something. So I'm just gonna pop a little bit of this on directly onto the brush. You can see that there. It looks like more than it is, and we are just going to stipple. We are stippling over that yellow because we placed that yellow so carefully. We do not want to dislodge it. We are just putting this over the yellow because the yellow is doing its job masking. And you always want to stipple in this eye area. You don't want to rub. It'll do terrible things to your skin down the road, and also, again, we don't want to get rid of that yellow. We can do a little bit of this in here. And then I'm just going to go ahead and go around the eyebrow a little bit and just distribute that pretty evenly. And you can see that this stuff really goes quite a long way for being what it is. I've covered most of my cheekbone area and around the eyebrow and half of my nose. So we're gonna complete this. We're just gonna go ahead and continue to do the same thing on the other eye. And then we are also going to continue to do the same thing on the rest of the face. It's finally done. That took forever, but that's really the longest part of this whole skincare makeup. As you can see, everything's looking a lot better. You cannot see that yellow. You cannot see those bags nearly as much. We are not done though. We are going to go in one more time in that under eye area. It depends on your skin texture, how many layers you're going to be able to get away with. But for me, I find that this works perfectly. It has worked on all sorts of people, younger than me, older than me. It just depends on your products and your skin type. So, but this is what I do. I'm gonna go in with my concealer. This is my Holy Grail product. This is my, if you had to take one, product to a desert island, what would you take? Other than sunscreen, it would be this. Realistically, it would be a yacht because then you could get out in style. But anyway, so this is the Clinique All About Eyes concealer. It's the lightest color. It's a yellow tone, and that is imperative. We're not gonna go and do that whole swoopy doopy thing that people normally do and then fill it in, because that, again, we wanna get in here. You can still kind of see those, right? We wanna get in there. So we're just gonna follow the same line as before. We're gonna dot it in and then stipple it in. So you can see it's we are going to just dot it right into that line. It just spat at me. Right into that line, that little depression there that you can kind of see. Did I get that on me? Anyway, I'm gonna go back in there with this same brush, and we're just gonna do the same stippling. My brush is falling apart. I use this every single day, so it's no surprise. I've had this for like a year. Anyway, we are going to go in and we are going to stipple again. And we are blending this, obviously, but at the same time, we don't want to dislodge it too much. We do want it to stay mostly within that that kind of crease area. And I say crease, but it's not a crease, you know, it's that bag area. I'm gonna kind of go down because we do want that kind of diffused cheekbone look that everyone's crazy about. What we're doing though is just keeping it in the bag area, and then when we blend the color, we blend it into that kind of triangle area. So you can see like that. I'm going to then take this and get rid of any discoloration on the lid. You don't want to put too many products, cream products on the lid, because you do want to make sure that your eyeshadow will look okay. This is the only thing that I use as a primer, so to speak. And we're just gonna go ahead and do it on the other side now too. So we're done with this guy. He finally gets to take a break. And I'm just gonna go in. I've got one powder that I like to use. I don't do the whole brightening powder and then other powder. This is my favorite. This is my always. This is the Camera Ready Cosmetics HD Oil Blot Powder. I love this. I find that it doesn't crease under my eyes, and it just sets everything beautifully. So we're just gonna go in there really quickly before anything creases. We don't like creasing, and we've done enough layering with the creams that we just want to have that extra insurance. But this stuff is so finely milled, I have not had a problem with this in anyone's eye area. Obviously, if someone is older, doesn't need the oil blot, I'm probably going to use a translucent powder instead. Most people should use a translucent powder. I used to have oily skin, and now it's combination, so I like to use a lot of just oil blotting things in general. And then we're just gonna go over the rest of the skin. So that's that taken care of. Now, this is the point at which normally I would go in, if I'm going to do any eye makeup, I do that next. If I just want this, you know, with maybe a little blush for work, then I'll go ahead and do that too. But so I'll just show you that now. I'll show you the blush and all of that, even though normally, yes, I would be doing eyes right now. So we're gonna start, we're done with this guy, with this brush. This is, all of these are Sephora brushes. This is just one of their blush brushes. And I use this for pretty much everything, actually. I'm gonna use my bronzer from this palette for my contour. It's called Jolie, it's from Too Faced. There are a lot of different, use whatever you've got, whatever you like for yourself, but this is what I've been using for me because I own it already. One less thing to buy. Under the chin. Kind of chisel that out a little bit. I've got kind of a strong jawline, so we're gonna actually go on the bottom of the jawline. And this is something, highlighting and contouring, believe it or not, even though it's, you know, like Instagram wouldn't have you believe this. Some people here wouldn't have you believe this, but it really is highly dependent on what your bone structure looks like versus what you want it to look like, where you're going to put it. I, for example, cannot put as much contour. Look, this is no contour. I can't put as much contour in my cheek area as, say, someone else who has maybe a rounder face or a squarer face. I have to put that contour down here. If you've got a heart-shaped face, you don't want to do that. Anyway, I'm rambling, so I'm just going to throw this on in here because this is what I do. Just a little bit. But yeah, that's something that you really need to go to a professional and have them assess your facial type and your skin type and then tell you what to use and where. So, ooh, let's see, what does that look like in the mirror? Yep, okay. There, now I've used too much on both sides. It's nice and even. I'm just gonna blend that out a little bit. And it's always interesting to see the difference between what I'm seeing here on my screen versus here in the mirror. So, yeah, it looks all right. I don't blend that every day. It's just like, if I screw up, then yeah, sometimes I have to blend it. So you got to see that little gem. The next thing we're gonna do is blush. This is a Milani blush. I like this blush a lot. This is another favorite of mine that I use for pretty much everything. It is just this rose one. It's a powder blush. It's matte. I find that matte works better for me at this point in life. You can use whatever you like. I'm just brushing it up in here, in my cheekbones, like on the center of the cheekbone. And that's pretty much that taken care of. And then we're just going to do a little bit of highlight. And this is my usual highlight, again using it up so that I can buy something that I want to use more. That's a lot of my makeup at this point, is just using it up so I can go out and buy something more fun. That's going in the cheekbone area above those eyebrows. Now this is important because if you've got all of that bag going on, you don't want to get this up there into that bag area, or it will accentuate everything that we've just covered up. That's why we're using a lot of mattes. This is a shimmer, so we want to, yes, put it there toward the top of the cheekbone, but we don't want to put it right here in the eye area. It will ruin it. You'll look terrible, and I'm sorry, but that's true. And then I like to put it up here, and then I also like to put it above here, just because that's also going to lift that eye area. So you definitely want to make sure, I know I was just throwing it on, you want to make sure that that looks good. So we're going to do the other side, and you can kind of see again, we are doing the top of the cheekbone, but we're not going into that eye area very much, especially not where that divot in the skin is, and then we're going to go above here. We want to keep it focused mainly on the eye area and lifting it, but I will also throw that there, you know, because it's very popular to have a little bit of shimmer in this area right now. So, and that's how you do my actual everyday facial makeup routine. Obviously, I went ahead and put on some eyeshadow. I just didn't feel 100% without it today. There are plenty of days I run around without eyeshadow. I just figure if I'm going to be filming, why not be polished, right? I'm sure you understand, but in any case, I really hope that this helped you kind of figure out maybe your own facial makeup routine, and we will see each other again in a few days in the next video. Bye!